Hey everybody, Metal Shop Steve here. I have another new album review, and this is another one from Black Lion Records. If you're familiar with some of my other videos, Black Lion Records, that's where I got Meadow's End. Defiatory is another band that came from there. So lots of good stuff on Black Lion Records. I will leave a link down below. If you have not checked them out already, please go check out Black Lion Records. Today is an album by a band called Apotheus, and it is called The Far Star. And as I usually do, I'm going to just go track by track down and talk about the whole album. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit. They're Portuguese. They're a death metal band, and you know that traditionally I'm not a death metal guy, but so that means that a death metal band has to have a little something extra in there for me to really like them, and I believe that this band does as well. Miguel on lead vocals and guitar, Daniel on bass, Albano on drums, and for the recording, Tiago was on the album as the guitarist, although I believe somebody else is playing guitar these days, but that's kind of the rundown there. I'll talk generalities after I talk about the band, about the songs. So they start off with Prelude, which is essentially that. It's a prelude. It's the beginning of the album. It's the first song. It's quiet. It's sparse. It's got a little bit of piano in there, some spoken word to kind of introduce you to this journey. Overall, the album feels like a concept album a little bit. It kind of seems to tell a story the whole way through, and maybe that's what it was meant to do. So here we go. Caves of Steel, the next song. There's some atmosphere to it. It kicks in with this heavy riff. You know I like riffs. There's a growl. They move on to the singing from there. The lyrics are very futuristic, I would say, apocalyptic, kind of sci-fi in a way. That's how it sounds to me anyway. The next song, Red Shift. That one, I really like this one because there's kind of this opening scream to it. And I'm more of a scream guy than a growl guy, but you get some of both of that here. It's an opening scream. It kicks into the growls. It goes into the singing. There's a nice mix of growling and screaming and singing throughout the album, which is, you know, credit to Miguel for vocals. I like it when a band can do just a little bit of everything there. This song kind of feels like another bit of a dark journey. Not Journey the band, but you know, a journey as in a quest of some kind. So nothing journey about this album. After that, we go to Resolve to Remake, and that starts out and pretty much stays aggressive. It's pounding. It's got the pounding bass, the pounding drums, yet it kicks into something that they do here often on this album, this kind of vulnerable, emotional chorus. And I'll tell you what, when this guy decides to sing, he can really sing. This could just as well be some kind of a progressive album if the growling was left out altogether. So, you know, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for this band, but I think in my opinion, it's a great thing for the band. It means they're diverse. It means that they can stand up to kind of a bunch of different scrutiny. So there you go with that. Some of the lyrics in that song, really, you start to get the depth of it. And even in the growling, you can actually understand what he's saying. Another thing that I like about it, if you want to hear the lyrics, if you want to understand the lyrics, you definitely can. You know, he says, is anybody there for me? Is there any life for us? So you can kind of get the sense of searching, trying to find what else is out there. Is there something out there? It's kind of the flow of the album. They follow that up with The Darkest Sun, kind of a quiet tone to begin here. A little bit gloomy, the singing. This one, and I mentioned progressive a little bit already, but this one has a little bit almost of an old, maybe Empire-sounding Queensryche vibe to it. It could very well have been a Queensryche, Jeff Tate song, without the growling, of course. The Pull of Plexius is the next one, and that one starts out with kind of a bass riff. So you bass fans out there, there you go. It's not the pounding, it's not the thrashy bass, but it's kind of just a nice bass riff, like a thoughtful bass riff. And then the guitar chugs in, and you go from there. Next one up, Save Our Ship. And again, continuing the theme of a journey, of a travel type of experience. And the neat thing about this Save Our Ship, in case you don't know, I'm a nautical nerd, a maritime nerd a little bit. So anybody out there who knows a little bit of their maritime tech speak knows that Save Our Ship is what SOS means. And at the end, there's kind of an SOS signal right at the end of the song, which I kind of liked. If you hang in all the way to the end, you hear that little kind of hidden bit there. The next song, Under a New Cloudy Sky. And I'll tell you right off that this is my favorite track on the album. It's very subtle in the beginning, and there's almost like a crying out guitar solo, but very minimal. Really kind of the best way to describe it. It's a very, very soulful, almost sad sounding guitar solo. But it's really cool, and that sets the tone for the song. This one's about looking back, remembering. So if they are on this journey, it's remembering where they came from, taking a look back, maybe with a little bit of trepidation. Should they have gone on the journey? What's behind us? We're close, but not yet. That's one of the things in the song. But again, just a great overall song. It kind of combines everything that I love about this band into one song. Under a New Cloudy Sky. That's my favorite track. I'll go ahead and just put that out there now. Next up, we already had The Darkest Sun. Next up is The Brightest Sun. And that one is very stark. And in terms of the vocals on this album, I already told you that when the guy sings, when Miguel sings, he can sing. And this song is the best example of that on the album. It's the best pure singing of any song on this album. Makes me cringe a little bit to use the word ballad, but if there was an example of a ballad on the album, it would be this. It's pretty low key, it's slow, it's sung the whole way through, and a kind of a change up toward the end, but a nice change up, a nice little bit of fresh air there. You follow that by Staring the Abyss, and this one is pounding guitar, pounding riff, very progressive. This one to me has the most progressive flavor to it. Daniel and Albano work really well together to put that backbeat in here, the bass, the drums, and then the progressiveness you can just hear throughout this song. Really great, really good stuff. And then finally, they finish off their journey, they finish off the album with a song called A New Beginning. And rightfully so, that's the way to end this journey. That basically means we've arrived, now what? So they're kind of taking a look back at how they got there, where they are, where are we, and is the grass really greener here now that we've made this journey? So, it's very deep thought here. You've left something, you've gone away from it, you've traveled through hard times to something that you thought would be better, that you hoped would be better, and maybe right away you're not sure if it is. You take some time, but that's for a whole new other separate record. That concludes this album. So I already mentioned some of the points that I feel about this overall. Again, I really like this album. It was a pleasant surprise. It's one that I saw lingering around on the Black Lion website for a little bit. I finally decided to really dive into it, and I'm really glad I did. I mentioned Queensryche earlier, and I love Queensryche. I like new Queensryche, I love old Queensryche, and this is probably, if I had to give this a comparison, I would say it would be kind of a death metal Queensryche type of thing. These are really well-written songs, well instrumented, well played. The album flows really well. So, all very good things here about this album. Overall, again, it's that sci-fi apocalyptic. We're on a journey, trying to get somewhere, trying to escape and find something better. That's really the whole, kind of pull of this album. And again, this is another band, and I like to say that, I said it before earlier, actually, that for death metal to really appeal to me, there has to be another layer to it. There has to be something else there other than just that like rah, you know. And here it is. There's beauty. There is beauty hidden within all of this, and maybe that's a little bit of the progressive style woven in through there. Maybe there's some progressive influences, but I guess the best example is the song Redshift that I talked about, the one with the opening scream. There is just this real beauty to this song, and you know, it's throughout the album. This is the one that it's most noticeable on, but really well-rounded, great album. I'm glad I stuck with this and tried it out. I encourage you to do that too, and I'm going to leave you all the links below so you can check this one out yourself. Again, Black Lion Records, great place to look for new music, especially if you're into this style. And Apotheus, the album is The Far Star, so go ahead and check that out now, and I'm sure I will be back soon with another video. Thanks for coming by.